Guys, my name is Daddy Alex, and this is Dimension Zero. I am also broadcasting on Poperageous, which is my other channel, which I'm also restarting the live shows on very soon. I think next week, maybe even a Saturday, because we're going into a busy season. The Odyssey, guys, the Odyssey. I have made a lot of comments about the Odyssey over the last few months. The Odyssey is about as sci-fi, fantasy, and not really horror. But I have maintained that James Nolan, Christopher Nolan, is not the right director for this. As a matter of fact, this should not be in a movie. It should not be in a movie format. This is, if you like, you could go online and read the Odyssey. It's long. Like, a lot of stuff happens. Now, if you take the somewhat traditional sense of the Odyssey, of how it's written, I'm live here, my friend. Stop dinging me, all right? Come on, man. Oh, hi. This is not a movie. This is a 2-season Netflix, HBO. I would prefer HBO. HBO should have snatched this up. Maybe, you know what? HBO, I'm just saying, give me a call. Give me a call. You want a 2-season? As a screenwriter, I'm telling you, you want a 2-season kick butt script? 16 episodes, 2 seasons, 8 episodes. You call Danny Alex. That's what you call Danny Alex.
Give me a try, baby.
So, yeah, there is what I'm, so we're going to be talking about. Look, I know I've got to add another. I'm going to be doing 2 live shows on my other channel, Poperageous, and I know I've got to add another live show on Dimension Zero because there's so much science fiction stuff. I got movie stuff. So we're going to be talking House of the Dragon. We're going to touch on that. We're going to touch on a little bit of we're going to touch on the Odyssey flop. I maintain, look, I'm going to see the Odyssey. What the hell is going on? I'm going to see the Odyssey tomorrow afternoon at 2:50. It's me and 3 people, okay? It's me and 3 people tomorrow. The first showing to see the Odyssey. I don't make this up. I've been saying for a while now, this movie, I didn't like the casting. I like Matt Damon, but I don't like him as Odysseus. If I was going to pick, look, do you know what? You know what you need as Odysseus? Everyone puts up a picture of Troy. What's his name? Brad Pitt. Yeah, it looks good. You know what you need? Do you know what you need? Give me a picture of Gerard Butler in 300. He doesn't have to look exactly like Gerard Butler. He doesn't have to have, but yeah. I want the intensity. I do. I like Matt Damon as an actor. I liked him in Elysium. I liked him in I liked him in here's the point. Okay, here's the point. Can I make a point? One point. Can I get a word in edgewise here? Before sit down. Okay. So I didn't like the casting right from the start. When you put John Leguizamo in there, okay? Let's get right to that. You want to get down and dirty real fast here? Okay. Bear with me because I'm doing this. How do I do this? Okay. Share screen. Okay, that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna do it. Yeah, John Leguizamo. Leguizamo. I don't want to do that one. How many? There we go. We'll do that. Okay, wait a sec. I'm gone. Where'd I go? This is, like I say, this is new software. Please deal with me. Give me a break. How did I get so freaking small? What the? I thought I fixed this. Can I customize it? Where's customize? Remove, hide camera, hide. I don't know. This is restream. All right, you get a tiny little me. Like I'm important, right? I'm not important. Where is Lucasiamo? So this guy, this punk. Which one do I got up? The Greek actors? How many? There we go. How many? This is a Greek classic. Let me remind you. This is a Greek classic, right? Now, when I went to university and I studied creative writing as a screenwriter in university, I took a lot of history, philosophy, and I took a lot of the antiquity. Alexander the Great, and I've said this many, many times before, Alexander the Great is the basis, is the foundation, is the fulcrum to the entire Western civilization. Alexander the Great. Alexander the Great, he went through and he is the greatest human being that ever lived, I'll tell you, man. The fact that my last name is Alex, the fact that he shares Alexander with me makes me feel good when I wake up in the morning. But beyond that, when he conquered the world and he died so early in his reign, and I mean, was he brutal? Of course he was. This was a brutal time. This was a time when dear, I mean, could you imagine living in 325 BCE? I mean, could you imagine? We're going to war. Shit. You get the call. You're like you're harvesting your fields, and you get the call. You got to grab your sword and armor. It's like, oh, that's fun. Yeah. War is really fun back then, right? Regardless, that brought into the Hellenistic period, right? Which is basically the Greek period where you had the city-states, and that brought in Rome. Why do you not hear anything about that period between Rome and Greece? Why do you not hear anything about it? Because it happened so seamlessly. Rome merged and sort of took that whole idea of the Hellenistic period, that whole concept of Alexander the Great's world. And this is where, now this, of course, is 500 years? No, 700 years after, is it? Yes, after, right? This is hundreds of years. This is like us going back to like the 1300s. We need to keep these centuries in perspective. But with that being said, the importance of the Hellenistic period and sort of the whole idea of the Odyssey and the Odysseus and everything that happens before it, the whole idea is that, we're talking about Lugoziamo, right? So the Greeks have got a huge thing to do with modern civilization. I mean, they just do. There's a joke in there somewhere. Greetings, Scotty. I don't know where that came. Yeah, what part of the show that came from, but I probably. Wait. Oh shit! I see what's going on. Marius, my friend. Hello, welcome. My name is Danny Alex Marius. How are you doing? Welcome to this is the first time we finally got Facebook streaming Wednesday at 8 p.m. It's been on YouTube. But Facebook, we got to get Facebook is like my peeps, right? Marius, hey, wait a sec. It's the same picture. What the hell's going on? What the heck is going on here? Why am I so tiny in that corner? I thought I changed it. Can I go like that? That works. Oh, no, it doesn't really work. Okay. How do I custom? I know there's a way to custom. I literally customized it. I thought before we came on. Does that work? That doesn't work either. Does that work? All right. Well, I don't know. I don't know. Jesus Christ Almighty. Maybe I need that button. Customize. Oh, that is the button, my friends. I found it. Allow me, please allow me to. Okay. I got it. Okay, let's go to here. Let's make me larger, and I'm gonna go like that. And then I don't want to reset changes. I did ask for that. Bear with me. Like I said, I'm using Restream this week. Last week I was using StreamYard. This is my first time using. Do I have to hit save? I don't need to hit save, do I? I don't. I did it. As always, my friends, welcome to Wednesday nights. Dimension Zero. I'm also broadcasting. Thank you. You're too good to me. I am broadcasting also on my other channel, Pop Rages, because I'm starting live shows on Pop Rages again, which is pure movie, pop culture. I'm a little bit more crap here on Dimension Zero because I am a science guy. I just released a Battlestar Galactica, Battlestar Pegasus video, talking about the Battlestar Pegasus, and tomorrow I'm releasing a 6-minute video on Destiny, Stargate Universe, on the whole idea of Stargate, the Destiny. Have you watched, like, out of all the Stargate universes, Stargate Universe, you've got to watch Stargate Universe. It's the best. I'll touch on that later on in a little bit. Let's get back to John Lugosi. Look, how many? Look. If I was a Greek, remember John Leguizamo? Remember he's talking about how many, people that are not Latino playing Latinos and all this stuff. This is the stuff that freaking drives me nuts. Nuts, man. I spent 20 years in Hollywood. I think I mentioned that before. 20 years in Hollywood. I dealt with the BS. I've dealt with the desecration of the story. This is what James Nolan has desecrated. Why am I saying James Nolan? Christopher Nolan has desecrated the story. The story always takes precedent in front of everything else, in front of casting, in front of sets, in front of everything. The story. You can make, as a screenwriter, I know this. I think I know this. It's not that I know everything. I don't. I certainly don't. Story takes precedent. You can make a story. You can make a $1 million movie, and the story absolutely rocks butt, right? You don't even know the actors. You don't even care if you know the actors. You learn to love them through the story, because the story creates tension. It creates a feeling that you want this character to succeed against the antagonist. And you can make people cry for actors they've never seen before, because the story compels you to. Story always usurps spectacle. As a screenwriter, guys, I will talk. I got notes here about a little bit more about screenwriting, and which is why I also got to add a second live show to Dimension Zero, talking about this stuff and understanding why story used to work. It worked like Hail Mary. Why does story work in Hail Mary? And why does it not work in so many, and why it will not work in the Odyssey? I'm telling you, I've been steadfast. I've been one of the only ones long before Trailer 3 came out. Trailer 1 was a disaster. One of the first things I noticed, remember the first promo picture ever out for the Odyssey? What was it? It was the back of Agamemnon's head. You're telling me you're releasing the back of Agamemnon's head as your trailer, that as your main image. The back of someone's okay. Even if you look now for an image of the Odyssey that sort of takes the whole concept and says that's the Odyssey. That image, that's the Odyssey. That represents the Odyssey. You can't find it. I will argue, and this is for a little bit later in the show. People talk about The Dark Knight Rises as a good movie. Holy jeez, what the frick movie are you watching? The Dark Knight Rises was garbage. The very first scene, you know what, I'll get into it later on. I'll get into it. Why the Nolan trilogy, Batman trilogy, and I'm actually working on videos. This is for Pop Rages, because it's more, pure movie based. Why the Nolan Batman movies are crap. Now, you might like them for the spectacle, but for the storytelling, they are crap. And the first scene in every movie tells that story unequivocally. Unequivocally. More on that later. I will get to that. Look, the Batman trilogy from Christopher Nolan, if you hear it from nowhere else, it is crap. Garbage. We'll get to it. So John Leguizamo says, it's like, people who are non-Latinos playing, this is the crap I hate from Hollywood, okay? People like this. Now, I'm a equal opportunity guy. I don't care what you're from, what you smell like, what you look like. Well, maybe I do want to care what you smell like, what you look like. I don't get it. If what you look like literally will depend on whether you will fit that role, what you look like. That will also depend on the pigmentation of your skin. Because I'll tell you what, if I am casting for an African princess queen, I'm not going to choose Charlize Theron. I'm not going to choose Charlize Theron. Although Christopher Nolan might. Christopher Nolan might choose a Caucasian woman for the most beautiful African princess in the world. She's Caucasian? Yeah. It obviously wouldn't work that way because even when what's his name was going to be cast as Black Panther and he was like he's like mid-black, right? He's mid-black. Well, he wasn't dark enough. He didn't have enough pigmentation. Look, things have gotten stupid in this world, okay? And if you listen to too much Twitter, you start to lose focus. But what Christopher Nolan has done, let me finish that. How many Colombian actors were in the Odyssey? There's only one confirmed Colombian. Okay, all right. Let me make, I'm, okay, how many, there we go. And if we go, how many Greek actors are there in the Odyssey? In director Christopher Nolan's 2026 film, The Odyssey, there are essentially 0 Greek or Mediterranean actors in the confirmed leading roles. Your Honor, I rest my case. I don't make this stuff up. Well, like I made it up. I'm only given facts. Well, there's 0. There is an extra. How did I make that? I did one search. There's one extra. He is Greek, and they actually put it up there. I forgot what the search was before this one. Let me hit backspace. Oh, there we go. The Odyssey features exactly 1 Greek actor in its announced principal cast. No, he's He is a the what? Okay, that's not it. He is an extra. They put him out as an extra. This extra here. We don't even know his name or what he does, what scene he's in. But yeah, he's Greek. He's Greek. That's it. He's Greek. Now, if you're gonna do the Odyssey, unbelievable that you're gonna use American accents. You're gonna use American accents to do the Odyssey. What in the hell just happened? I don't know. I thought that was supposed to be me. Okay, you know what? I'm telling you, this is a brand new restream. I don't fully understand it. Okay, what the hell just happened there? I don't know. Can I double click that to make myself big? If I go, okay, so let's see what I hear. Okay, I'll stop sharing then, and I'll go big. There we go. Thank you very much. I don't know. Now, guys, from a story perspective. By the way, my name is Danny Alex. I'm from Dimension Zero. I like science. Do you guys know that there's actually recoil in space? It shocks me. Honestly, guys, I'll do a video. I'll put a video out there about recoil, right? So I did a video about recoil, about the whole idea that one of the Romulan starships did 1.61 yotta-joules of energy, right? And the recoil on that would send a ship back 30% the speed of light. People said I wish I had a dumb voice. I don't. Do I have a dumb voice? I don't have a dumb voice. It's an energy weapon, so it has no recoil. It's an energy weapon, so it has no recoil. Recoil. You know recoil, right? So you take a gun out, a pistol, a shooting weapon. I'm not even sure what you're supposed to. There's some words you're not supposed to say. And I know much less because Facebook is a lot more strict than YouTube. It is a lot more strict. So you take your little, your shooter. Give me a shooter. And you take it out and you shoot. Boom, right? It kicks back. The same thing happens in space, my friends. It does. So if you're going to shoot, if the Death Star was going to shoot, I don't know how many yotta-joules of power, like 1,000 times 1 yotta-joule of power, the kickback, the recoil on that kind of a weapon, you cannot break Newtonian laws of physics. This is where Dimension Zero comes in. Okay, the laws of physics freaking work 100% of the freaking time. You don't break the laws of physics. Newsflash, mofo. What do we got? Are we? I hope that's going. Is that going? What do I gotta do? I gotta do that. I don't know if I gotta do. You know what? This whole restream, I went from StreamYard to Restream, so I think everything is. Oh, okay. We got Facebook going. We got YouTube. I think everything is going. Next, we got to put on TikTok because I got over like 12,000 people on TikTok and a few even Instagram. I don't know. We'll get it. I tell you, if you guys ever wanted to, so if you want to subscribe and become a part of Dimension Zero, believe me, I am losing a lot more money than I'm making. Okay, there's my confession. Can I see a priest? Can I see a priest? Sir, what do you call a priest? Whatever, dude, like I'm losing more money than I'm making on this streaming stuff. I have for 3. Anyone who is subscribed, I'm telling you, thank you very much. I thank you. I thank you. My fridge full of food thanks you. I don't know. This stuff is hard. Yeah, you see some people out there streaming and they're making $2,000 a stream. There's not many people out there doing that, right? There's not many people. There's a few. But believe me, any support you give me, whether you watch a video, look, not all of us are economically in the place we want to be. I have subscribers on Facebook, YouTube, Patreon. I just started. So Patreon, I'm going to do big things on Patreon. Any help you give me, and of course, I'm a screenwriter. So the whole idea of this is to take my award-winning screenplays, and I've won hundreds of awards around the world. I've never sold a screenplay. To take my screenplays and to create my own movies as Dimension Zero or Pop Rageous as my production company. So I do not want to make movies. I don't want to give my content, my stories to Hollywood. That's why I moved from, after 20 years in Hollywood, I moved out. I moved out of that filthy city. Believe me, it's filthy. It's filthy. Los Angeles. Unless you live in, you know, the Hollywood Hills or Beverly Hills. I got friends that live in Santa Monica and they complain. They complain. They hate it. They hate it. It's utterly turned not as good, if you can say that, right? Not as good. But let's keep going with the Odyssey, guys. Let's keep going with the Odyssey. Now, the whole concept, the whole idea of without getting into the political ramifications of everything, okay? Drop the political stuff. I don't want to frickin' hear it. Okay? No one needs to hear it. But it becomes political because, dear God, if you say for a second that Helen of Troy, you know what? I'm kind of thinking that Helen of Troy probably, you know, I'm thinking maybe could have, like, gee, can I say it? Can I say it? Oh God. Maybe she should have been Caucasian. Just a thought. Maybe, I'm just thinking, maybe Helen of Troy. Now, Christopher Nolan, I've always said Christopher Nolan has made a few good movies. The Batman trilogy is garbage. And I will show you why from a script perspective. Watch the first scene of Batman, The Dark Knight Rises. Watch the first scene and you tell me you're going to buy that BS? The very first scene, boom. The glass of a skyscraper is blown out. Now, skyscrapers are pressurized, right? And there are sensors. When a screen blows, look, fire responders, everybody will respond to just a blown glass on a skyscraper. But they just shoot something, they go flying down. But some of the worst parts are, guys, holy jeez. So you've got a mob-led bank. The mob leads this bank. This is a mob freaking bank. And they got no freaking Italian guys. Or it doesn't have to be Italian. Just some guys, you're going to, like, just freaking kick-ass guys that are saying there, you want to try to attack this bank? Okay, Nolan, okay. Like, it's a mob bank, but there's no mobsters. Okay, whatever. Okay. And then they're at the bottom. Remember at the bottom? They're drilling. This all happens in 5.5 minutes. In the first 5.5 minutes, and no police officers show up. They're drilling through a bank door. If you tried to drill through, Google it, AI it, what it would take to try and drill through a bank vault door. It would take hours upon hours, but doesn't matter. They get through it in like 30 seconds. And then the Joker shoots the guy, and then the Joker takes In 30 seconds, he takes all the money in purple bags, which each bag would weigh about 150 pounds, but he takes those 6 bags, runs upstairs, and all of a sudden, they're sitting in front of the school bus that backed up into the bank, and the school bus drives away. The timing is absolutely incredible. And this freaking school bus just, like there's a spot there for this school bus to park and just drive. Holy what are we freaking watching, Nolan? Holy fart knockers. What a shit movie. Now, I can get into every scene of the Batman, The Dark Knight Rises, and tell you what freaking garbage it is. You're telling me that, what's his name? Morgan Freeman's character, Lau takes all the mob money to Hong Kong. But before that, there was some sort of a weird, Wayne Enterprises was in discussions with Lau Enterprises for an acquisition, which is how Morgan Freeman got to Hong Kong to have a meeting with him at his top floor the very night Batman's got to break in. Really? You're telling me a mob boss of Lau's prowess was Wayne Industries did all the due diligence to get to the point of meeting with the CEOs. There's no mob business going on here. This isn't mob. Holy fart. Are you kidding me? Nolan, you suck as a writer. And I'm telling you, take Heath Ledger out of Batman. You've got a absolutely crap ass story that is so laughable. And then how does Batman get away? He's got the C-130 plane, right? Now these are South Korean smugglers, but somehow they got a C-130, right? This South Korean smugglers, and they're flying over South Korea or over Hong Kong. And they connect themselves, and then all of a sudden it grabs the balloon, and they go from 0 miles per hour to 300 miles per hour, like that. That would be like going from 0 to 50 G's in a split second. It would rip your head off. Batman, I gotta tell you, you're dead. You're done. Give me this one. Batman, you're dead. Great writing. Great writing, Nolan. Holy shit, that was great screenwriting. Batman, Dark Knight Rises. That was great freaking screenwriting. It was garbage, you mofo. Watch the movie. Pay attention to the bull crap that's happening on the screen, for crying out loud. He's not a good screenwriter. Sorry to burst your bubble. I'm like, this is just the truth. I'm not trying to be mean to Nolan. Has he been more successful than me? Yeah, he has. Yes. Yeah, he has. That is. He's great at spectacle. Screenwriting. Now, Oppenheimer, he kicked it. He did great at Oppenheimer. The Batman, you're telling me the Batman Rises, whatever the third one was? Do you want to start with the first scene of that one? That's another live stream. The Odyssey. Everything you need to know about the Odyssey is happening before your eyes. And I have maintained from day 2, the first day I thought, this might be okay. Then I realized, being a student of antiquity, this is not the right guy. Because if he puts his Batman BS in there, a little bit of, is he gonna? Can I ask one question before anyone? Is he going to? Is Christopher Nolan going to refer to Odysseus as the protagonist? Is Odysseus going to be referred to as the protagonist? The protagonist. So he couldn't think of a name for Tennant, right? He couldn't think of a name for the head guy. We'll call him. We'll call him the protagonist. Please. I'm not saying anything that is right out there for everyone to see. You can watch the movies. You can watch Tenet. You can watch all the Batman trilogy and kind of go, shit. Jeez, that was kind of stupid. Jeez, that was kind of stupid. Jeez, The Dark Knight Rises was kind of stupid. You're telling me no police officers come. But when Batman breaks, when he flies in, he just flies in. He's like flying, right? He flies into Lau's tower. Boom. The second the glass is broken, you got the Hong Kong police. They're like downstairs in a second. You rob a mob bank in the middle of New York City. And like they do something with the wires, like there's no mobile wires, right? No, they don't have any mobile wires. There's no mobile sensor. They don't have any mobility. They don't. Come on, this is 2009. They don't have cell phones, do they? Oh my God! Look. I am more than happy. You want to, as a screenwriter, you want to sit, anybody out there, you want to sit down with me, belly to belly. You want to get into a discussion whether any of the Batman movies was a good screenplay. You want to get into that discussion with me? You want to get into that debate? I'll do it. I'll do it. Happily do it. Now, whether it was a good story and whether the spectacle of the story created a movie worth watching, two different subjects. The spectacle, now Guillermo del Toro is great at spectacle. Frankenstein, the movie, was The Shape of Water rewritten in Frankenstein. What movie were you watching? You were watching The Shape of Water, except it was with Frankenstein. Did you not notice that? I got nothing against these people. I just watch the stuff. I'm a screenwriter. I won a few hundred awards. Like, okay. No, okay. So is the Odyssey going to flop? We are on the eve. We are on the eve of the Odyssey. And this is why I had to bring this up. Now, in terms of sci-fi and in terms of everything that this is a strange world, okay, guys, right? Look, Supergirl just came out. I want to touch on Supergirl still. Supergirl was about as predictable as a flop, and I don't want to get into the Supergirl thing. You watch YouTube, and you got every dumbass. You got people, everyone from like a 30 IQ to a 140 IQ talking about the parrot parade, right, of Supergirl. I don't need to get into that. The same, if there isn't an angle for me to talk about Supergirl that isn't done by the 4,000-5,000 parrot parade people that chirp the same thing, I'm not going to talk about it. I'm not. Because it's the same BS everyone talks about with Supergirl. But to discuss Supergirl from the perspective of real movie story, what was lacking? Well, it's kind of slow. I felt kind of bored halfway through, and I was like, "Holy, what the fuck am I watching on YouTube or Facebook or wherever you're watching it? Whatever, red, blue, orange, whatever." Yeah. Everyone's got an opinion, and that's fine. That's fine. Everyone should have an opinion. Like I say, I'm going to see the Odyssey tomorrow, and I will be there with 3 other people. Okay? I will be there with 3 other people. July 9th. Danny, Alex, what did you do on July 9th? July 9th. Well, I went to go see the Odyssey. Oh, really? With who? With three other people. I have no idea who they were. No idea.
Yeah, baby.
Yeah, right. Yeah, baby. And so this brings me to the larger point. Let me get to the larger point of what is wrong with movies. It's actually not even what is wrong with movies. It is wrong. What is wrong with storytelling? The same infection is in comic books that is in movies. It hasn't hit novels because novels are a very different. I shouldn't say it hasn't hit novels. Shouldn't say that. But it's hit movies and comics particularly hard. Graphic novels, particularly hard. Story now takes a backseat to political expediency. Story now takes a backseat to particular narratives that certain people want to use, so they will capture intellectual property. This is part of the reason I had to leave Los Angeles and start my own production companies, Poprageous and Dimension Zero. They take properties like Star Wars, like Star Trek, like The Witcher, like Doctor Who. They take these well-established intellectual properties where there is a significant fan base, and they insert their ideas above and beyond the authors into how the story should be told. So the author or the creator or the person that sort of put everything together sort of said it was going to be put together this way. You can even say Lord of the Rings in there. You could throw it. You could probably throw in Greek. Or you can throw in Greek mythology now. I'm waiting for the day that Zeus is black. Like, will Zeus one day become black?
You're boring.
Oops, that's not what I wanted. It would be kind of like, is there an African god? What was the African god? Imagine if the African god is Caucasian, right? What the? I would be just as upset as every other person who that upset. I would be just as upset. This is about story, guys. So the Odysseus. Now, understand, if you've never read the Odysseus, like, look, most people talking about the Odyssey have not read it. It's post Iliad. Most people don't know crap about it, but they yak about it like they know something. They don't. Read it. It's a long story. Could you make a like, you could use the first 2 or 3 books to make a single movie. So much happens. So Nolan is going to have to cut out huge swaths of the Odyssey. Huge swaths right out of it. If you're going to tell the Odyssey is not a story where you have a protagonist and antagonist. It's more like a Forrest Gump movie. Can I say it's more of a
Yeah, baby.
yeah, thank you very much.
Fuck me.
Yeah,
Fuck you.
yeah. It's a story of diminishing returns, where someone is trying to get back. Basically, when Odysseus leaves that part of where's what modern day Turkey, right, where Troy is, he basically is blown away to the other side of Africa. He gets like, in the whole, he goes up to the north, and then I think one more stop, and he gets blown, a big storm, and it's like he goes all over the place. And if you made a story based on the exact verbiage in the Odyssey, you'd have a pretty bad story. Now, if you're gonna make a story based on that, what's her name's version of the Odyssey, you're gonna have a pretty bad story as well. Where is it? I think I have it here somewhere. Let me. Do I got it? We finished Lugaziamo. There's more Colombians. There's more Colombians in the Odyssey than there are Greeks. There's more Colombians in the Odyssey than there are Greeks. I wish I was making this up. I'm not. Well, we just went through it. Right? Okay, let me try and find this. Hold on. Oh yeah, I know where it was. Sorry. Bear with me. Entertain yourselves. How come this wasn't here? Okay, here it was. So here, this is where it's okay. I got it. I understand. Okay. So okay, so I want to. Okay. Yeah. Next week I'll have this all figured out. So I want to share screen. I want to do it with this. I want to share it, and it's not the way I want it, and that's not the way I want it. I don't even want that. I don't even want that. That's the way I want it. That's the way I want it. So, geeks and gamers, love them or hate them. It doesn't matter to me. I could care less. But this is the women of the look. This is the one thing about the Odyssey. It is a brutal masculine type A male war, just like everything from those days. Look, if my country was going to war, I would much rather be a woman, because that means I ain't gotta like pick up that sword and go and chop and be chopped. You think men had it good? Like, oh man, come please. So let's go over this quickly. Women of the Odyssey continue comments about Homer's epic, from not enough women to vilification of women. There's not enough women. Well, okay. If you want to take over men's roles of going to war, go ahead. Go ahead. Men will sit back. Women go to war and men will sit back. You know what? I don't know many men that are going to have an issue with that. We'll play just a few supporting roles and you guys can go fight the good fight. You down with that? You down with that? The press tour for Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey continues to generate controversy, and it does. Like what you're seeing, the ratio, it's almost, what do we got? An 8-to-1 down ratio? 8-to-1. Ratioed. So the question is it going to flop? I think it is. $250 million budget plus $150 million marketing, at least. That's $400 million. You got to double it because they only get half the ticket price when a ticket is sold. The theater gets the other half. Actually, in North America, it's usually around 55% for the first 3 weeks. The first 3 weeks is 55%. Usually, every movie is different. Call it 50%. Fine, whatever. $800 million. Some people, look, if you believe $250 million budget, because the budgets have never become true, they've always gone higher, always come higher. You're probably looking maybe closer at $1 billion. Call it 800 million to $1 billion. So this thing has to do 800 million just to break even. Do I think it's going to do that? I don't. Homer's legendary work that have left some fans questioning just how familiar the cast is with the nearly 3,000-year-old epic poem. And that is a great point. None of them, I don't think any of them have read it. I think a couple of did. I think, what's his name? Batman. I forgot his name. He's the only guy that asked for a script when you want to be in the movie? He's the only one. Robert Patrick, right? What's his name? Or is it Robert Patrick? Do I get that right? He's the only guy that asked for a script. And Nolan, when he asked for the script, he was like, "What? Can I read the script before I say yes?" Like, Christopher. Newsflash, it could be a shit script. Just like James Gunn thought Supergirl. Supergirl was high quality script. Now, comments from Lupita Nyong'o, Zendaya, and Samantha Morton are adding more fuel to that discussion, with each actress offering a glimpse into how they approached Homer's work and the female characters of the Odyssey. Lupita says Homer spent little time with the female perspectives despite the Odyssey's wealth of important women. Oh, fine. Really? What just happened here? I don't want to listen to those guys. There's she. Nyong'o, whose family is worth $250 million. Very wealthy family. Very, very. How'd you get so wealthy, by the way? How'd you get so wealthy? How did you get into Hollywood? Who portrays Helena Troy in the film suggested that the original epic spends very little time exploring women. Oh, I'm sorry. What? What do you mean exploring women? Exploring women? We want to explore. This is a war epic. It's a war epic. What do you want? There's a lot of strong women that are in the tale. There's a lot of strong, powerful females. But this is a story about Odysseus, who was a guy who fought in the Trojan War. What do you want? How many women were fighting in the frickin' Trojan War? You dumbass. Everything's got to become, right? Everything's got to become a political piece that you like raise a flag to.
I'd be like, so Homer, how do you?
I don't think this is loud enough.
Screen time given to these women, considering how little you spent with them. Oh, okay.
And then do you lean forward?
Very quiet. Yeah, it's very quiet. Yeah. When you read the Iliad and the Odyssey, very little time is spent in the perspective of women. So this film takes time to really consider things from the female perspective. Oh my God. Now, if you needed more evidence to the idea that this movie is going to absolutely frickin' bomb, absolutely, this is a type A male movie. Could you imagine 300? Well, you know what? There really wasn't a female perspective. Well, there was one female perspective. But I gotta tell you, yeah, this is Sparta. It was a little. I think 300 needed a little bit more female touch. What the? Okay, whatever. Okay. Then Nagoya then took things a step further, saying that she would challenge Homer himself over the way he handled the women of his legendary stories. I would be like, so Homer, how do you feel about the screen time given to these women, considering how little time spent with them? To which he would reply, screen? What's a screen? Screen time? Like, remember us? What is wrong with Hollywood? What is wrong with Hollywood? The Devil Likes Prada. There's a lot of women in that. Hey guys, do you remember that men like fashion too? Why was there so much perspective in that Prada movie? Why was there no male perspectives? Or very few? Not enough. There wasn't a whole lot of male perspective. When I watch a good fashion movie, I like to see a little bit more male perspective, if you know what I mean. You can clap. The comment quickly sparked pushback from fans of Greek mythology, who pointed out while Homer's works were not written from a modern perspective, the Odyssey is filled with female characters who play crucial roles in the story. And it is, because I have read the Odyssey. And I gotta tell you, Lupita, honestly, you're a black woman playing a Caucasian princess. Queen? Was she a queen? Princess. If there was a Caucasian playing a black African princess or a queen, could you imagine? Could you imagine? The Princess of Congo. Who's playing her? Oh, Anne Hathaway. Oh, Anne Hathaway is playing the Princess of Congo? That's That's based, man. That's fucking based. The goddess repeatedly intervenes on his behalf. Athena is not merely a background character. She is Odysseus's divine protector and the one driving forces behind his. Yeah, that's actually not. You know what? I just want to get into. So there's good looking, like, you know, Hollywood, whatever. I'm not gonna. I don't even want to. This is the one, guys, because you know what? We can talk about this stuff for a long time, but this one. Listen to this one.
In history, women have been vilified, whether you're a midwife, whether you're, a herbalist, whether you're a healer, whether you're just in tune with the moon. Like,
wait, okay, now, okay, I think I need a drink of wine, a little bit of red wine for this one. Dimension Zero is a science channel. Now, this might say a lot about the female species. Whether you are in tune with the moon. What did she say?
a herbalist, whether you're a healer, whether you're just in tune with the moon.
Herbalist, healer, or in tune with the moon? We need to put this woman in charge of the Odyssey.
Like, women have just been vilified throughout history. And
Vilified! Just vilified throughout history. No man has died at the cross, or the stake, or the guillotine, or at war. No man has been vilified ever in the history. I tell you what, in a lot of ways, women got it pretty good. I would, every day I go to the gym at 3 a.m. and then I always go for like an hour hard walk. I put 3-pound weights on my ankles and I go for this crazy walk, right? And my wrists. And there's these guys doing stucco like all day long, right? It's like 30 degrees outside Celsius. What is that? That's about 85, 87 Fahrenheit. And there's these like 5 or 6 guys doing stucco, and like they're outside working, they're working hard. You see guys laying brick. How come the women ever complain that there's not enough females doing stucco work? It really is a male-dominated work, How come there's not enough? I mean, the stucco business and the bricklaying business tends to vilify women. You think women can't lay brick and mortar? It's just a question.
I think that was my take on it. But also, Chris's interpretation of the original text and then like kind of condensing it into this like essential oil of Circe was...
Essential oil of Circe. This is my problem, guys. This is why I said right from the beginning, the Odyssey should be a 2-season, 8 episodes, 16 total episodes. Now, I have no idea. How are you going to take that story, which I do know, and I'm a screenwriter. How are you going to turn that? Now, it's going to be a 3-hour movie, right? Am I right? I don't know. I'm going to go see it tomorrow afternoon. I'm going to go watch the Odyssey tomorrow afternoon with 3 other people. I am not,
phenomenal. And that I just worked from the text. It was all there for me.
It's all there. It was all there. Really, it was all there. Just work from the text. That's all I did. All right. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. That is, who? What? Who's that? Morton. No, I forgot her name. I'm not. It's not my job to remember names. Or is it? So, ladies and gentlemen. I got the chat. I got the. We got some. We got some chat. Oh, we got a lot of chats going on. Geez, sorry I missed. Okay, you know what? Okay. I want to see what you guys are saying because that's what really matters. Greek's very smart. Yes, Scotty. I didn't hit hide. Oh, I see what's going on. Again, I just learned something. I just learned something from, oh my God. So interesting religious system, ancient. Hey, Pamela. Pamela. Oh, that was almost an hour ago. Hi, Pamela. Hi, Pam. Good to see you. Pop Rageous is going to be starting up again. Pop Rageous live. Pop Rageous is where I do pure movies and pop culture. Dimension Zero is pop culture, but well, it's science, Star Trek, but it's sci-fi. It's everything, right? So, Scotty, wait a sec. Is this stuff? Yeah, okay. It's okay. Love the Gate. Why no recent streams on Rumble? I got Rumble. I just set up. I'm telling you, man, streaming is a tough business. It's a hard business. I could not, because I have so many people on Facebook. I could not get StreamYard to do YouTube and Facebook at the same time. So I changed to Restream. And this is my first stream with Restream. And I'm like I'm fumbling. I'm fumbling around like. But I think we're getting through it. Judas Crank, my friend Crank. Hey pal, funny you were streaming. I just watched BSG season 3, episode 11. Season 3, Battlestar Galactica was a good season. That was a good season. Season 3 and 4, Battlestar Galactica was a good season. I just released a video on Battlestar Galactica or Pegasus. It's kind of like it's like a ode to, like, from a writer's perspective. If you go to Dimension Zero, well, there's 2 dimensions. I have a Dimension Zero Science and Dimension Zero at Dimension Zero TV, the main channel. Then you will find the Pegasus. And one of the great things about the Pegasus, and I know that they had budget constraints, but I mean, there are some why is Battlestar Galactica? I'm telling you guys, I do videos on Star Trek, Star Wars, Battlestar Galactica. I do it on Farscape. I do it on the Orville. I do it on science, on what's an electron, magnetars, all this stuff. I do it all. I do images and I also do videos. And the most watched ones, guys, are Battlestar Galactica. You would think that Star Wars and Star Trek would far surpass Battlestar Galactica. I would have thought so too.
Hey, baby.
I'm trying to. I really am trying to. What the? Wait a sec. I don't want that. There we go. Thank you very much. Crank. Crank, it's been a week, right? It's too long. I gotta do 2 streams a week because it's like it feels like it's been so long. Right? Every Wednesday. We'll remedy it. That's what Braveheart said. That's what's his name said, right? William Wallace. Well, it's something we'll have to remedy, isn't it? But I'm telling you, I will do a Battlestar Galactica. And why is Battlestar Galactica? Why do people love Battlestar Galactica? It's an unspoiled property. We've just spent the last 20 years, 18 years in the Alex Kurtzman realm of Star Trek. Do you know what I'm talking about? You know what I'm talking about, Section 31. You know what I'm talking about, Discovery. You know what I'm talking about, Starfleet Academy. When Season 2 Starfleet Academy comes out, guys, you punch your dial to Pop Rageous and Dimension Zero. I'm telling you, we will be covering that like there's some interesting way. You know what I could, you know how we're going to cover it. Season 1 of Starfleet Academy. Look, I am an equal opportunity screenwriter, movie guy, critic. I don't like being a critic. Because I'm a screenwriter, right? And I've been on all sides of the movie camera. I've been, I've got, I've never sold one of my screenplays. I will make them. You will, as a team, all of us at Dimension Zero and Pop Rageous, we will make these movies, my screenplays, and we will laugh at Hollywood. We will. No. Yeah, I knocked myself off. I knocked myself off the track. What was I talking about? Where was my choo-choo train going? So oh man, I hate when I do this. I do this all the time. I do this all the time to myself. Oh yeah, Battlestar Galactica. Right, jeez. Oh wow. I'm like a dog. You throw a bone, I'll chase it. And I'll forget what I was doing the second before. It's unspoiled. It's unspoiled. Battlestar Galactica, granted, in the 2000s, is the last time that we saw. Look, Adama. Guys, Commander Adama. What's his name? James. I forget that. I'm so bad. When I go live, I forget everyone's name. I forget my name. Like, I forget my name. You could argue that Adama was the greatest starship captain. Look, you can argue it was Jean-Luc Picard. You can argue it's Captain Kirk. I don't know who else you'd throw in. You could throw Han Solo in there. Was he a starship, a capital ship captain? No. Was he a captain? Well, yeah, kind of. He was a smuggler. You kind of throw him in there. Kind of. When I take a look at the casting, the concept, because they tried to make it real. Look, energy shields are BS. You will not make an energy shield around a spaceship. Physics won't allow it. Like, what do you got? Phasers, they had to make up nadons or whatever. All this stuff they just have to make up. And so the concept of Battlestar Galactica was, I've always been a Trekkie. Guys, remember, I've always been a Trekkie. Beyond anything else. Battlestar Galactica has always represented a sense of realism in space. Now, do they use artificial gravity to the point where, okay, whatever. Do they use inertial dampeners, although they don't mention it, so that when they, interplanetary travel with their quote unquote impulse engines, so they don't get pasted to the back of the ship? Yeah, they do. Phasers are BS. Lasers in space. You can't. The damage caused by a 20 metric ton shell traveling at 100 kilometers per second would absolutely devastate the Enterprise in seconds. In seconds, guys. It's physics. It's not anything. I'm a Trekkie. But if the Pegasus came and unleashed its kinetic weapons, look, I know a lot of Trekkies are going to go, because I see it in the comments all the time. You don't understand momentum, physics, momentum versus energy. When a 20 metric ton shell at 100 kilometers per second hits you at a very small space, like you can see all this stuff. Remember when in TNG, they went into an asteroid and Jean-Luc Picard was so scared about touching on either side of that asteroid. He was so concerned about it because any physical damage is destructive. You remember in the Nemesis, when part of that wing flipped off and it hit the Enterprise, and the shields literally in one little hit, and of course that's relative speed, right? That ship was going the same speed as the Enterprise was. It's not like it was going at a different speed. And that knocked the shields down to 10%. One more hit like that, and that was one hit. If you're taking the raw momentum power, this is what people do not understand. And that's a different subject, and we'll get into it here in Dimension Zero. The idea of starship fights. What would happen if the Galactica fought Star Trek? Using the laws of physics, not the laws of BS, okay? The laws of physics. What would really happen? Believe me, momentum, weapons. The Romulans, right? That big ball of thing that they shoot from their front. is so devastating because it's a kinetic and energy weapon. It devastates because it's also a kinetic weapon. But to Battlestar Galactica, and look, and because it's unspoiled. Star Trek is ruined. Star Wars, look, Mandalorian and Grogu. $320 million? A Star Wars movie that is now down to $320 million. And now we have Starfighter coming out. And yes, Ryan Gosling is in it. And those damn Canadians, they're so nice. They are. If you've watched Hail Mary, Project Hail Mary, you'd realize how nice those damn Canadians are. Like, they're so freaking nice. Ryan Gosling, right? Keanu Reeves, those damn Canadians, they're so nice. Every Wednesday night, guys, join us here, 8 p.m. Eastern every Wednesday night. This is what we do. We talk. We talk sci-fi, we talk fantasy, we talk it all. I'm going to finish off on Battlestar Galactica and then get back to the comments. You want to talk about female characters that aren't Mary Sue's? The cast of female characters on Battlestar Galactica was freaking awesome. Starbuck. Now, if you would have told me that you're gonna sex swap, you're gonna make female Starbuck. After, and I loved 1978 Galactica. I was 10, 11 years old. I was born in 67. I'm turning 59 this year. Whoa, Jesus. Holy shit. And you would have told, look, Katie Sackhoff, good job. Young lady, Katie Sackhoff, good job. She was a keg for a while. I would have, as the screenwriter in the last episode, I would have made because she came back, right? And it was an interesting concept. I'm not a religious man. I'm a science guy. But I do love the concept of her coming back and the idea that she wasn't a Cylon, but she came back. It was an interesting concept, something I would have written as a screenwriter. I would have milked that last scene with Leah Dama. The idea that I can't be here with you. I'm not, the whole idea that I think that now, look, you don't know what happens behind the scenes. We don't know what happens with editing. We don't know what happens with all these things, right? We don't. And maybe those scenes were shot and they had to condense it because the finale was so long. But number six, Trisha Helfner, right? Trisha Helfner. She started off as 1.5 seasons of a fairly seductive. she looked good, but this is a good actress, guys. Trisha Helfner is a good actress, and she proved it. She proved it. Now, do you know this is the great thing? This is the great thing about Trisha Helfner. I don't know if she comes from where Trisha Helfner? You may not believe this, but she comes like a lot of these what's her name from Resident Evil? She came from a very small town. From somewhere. How do I do that? I gotta. Don't mess with that. Share screen. That's what I want to share. Let's do that. There we go. And let's put me up there. How do I put me back up there? There we go. Okay. So she comes from a little town, guys, from Donalda, Alberta, Canada. Trisha, I didn't know this until today. Like this is how small this little town is. Now, if you don't know Alberta is like the Texas of Canada. Red Deer is south of Edmonton, which is about 1.5 million people. 1.6, 1.7 million people was surrounding area. And then Red Deer, which is about, I don't know, 300,000 people. And then Calgary, which is like, Calgary is like Dallas. Everyone knows freaking Calgary. It is voted the best city to live in North America like 20 years running. But so, and then of course you have the US border, which is just, very close below. But this is, Tricia Helfner comes from this little town, Donalda. Look at this little thing. This is where number 6 comes from. Number 6. The most famous person in Donalda, Alberta, Canada. And probably the best looking too. Like she is aging well. Number 6. Number 6, my friends. I had to bring this up because when I punched it up, I was like, damn. This is a small town. This is a small town girl. Look at this town. This is. Where were you born? Well, was she born on Lee Avenue? Could you imagine with Lee Adama, Lee Avenue? I don't know, Wallace Street, Olson Street. There's only like what, 15 streets you could be. This is small town Alberta, Canada. This is what's going on here. Small town Alberta, Canada. It's not like they talk like Texans, but it's like there's this own little thing that goes on in small town Alberta, Canada, right? That's what I'm talking about. Number 6, Tricia Helfner. And we love Tricia Helfner. And the women, so we're talking about the women of Battlestar Galactica. And this is a bit of a tangent. It's a bit of a tangent. Grace Park. She's also Canadian. Grace Park is what's her, number 8. Number 8. Fantastic, right? So the women, and also the president, look, what they did, there's no Mary Sue's in Battlestar Galactica. Every woman was a character, just like the guys were. It's not like a Ray Palpatine going on, right? There's no Michael Burnham going on here, right? It's an unspoiled property. So before anyone goes and says they should make more Battlestar Galactica, think about it. I hope all of the actors in Battlestar Galactica are getting residuals. I do. I really do. Because it was a kick-ass, it reached heights that it deserved to reach, because the human stories, look, the old lady, why do people love Battlestar Galactica? Why do people love Battlestar Galactica? The ship. Why do people love that freaking the bucket? Regardless of this it's just a sci-fi story. The old lady was the vessel that saved humanity. It's a powerful story, guys, and stories stick with us. And which is the problem with Hollywood, because they have destroyed the concept of the story. Hollywood has destroyed the concept of the story. Thank you, Christopher Nolan, who I have said has made some of the crappiest movies. We will relitigate the Batman series. I will read as a screenwriter. I will go through. You want me to go through almost scene by scene on Pop? This is going to be on Pop Rages. How bad the Batman trilogy was, if you take Heath Ledger out. How bad that, holy jeez. But Battlestar Galactica is it is unspoiled. Star Trek is ruined. Star Wars is ruined. Doctor Who is ruined. So if you want more Battlestar Galactica, think about it. Maybe it's just better left. What's his name? Nigel say it on Rob Reiner. What's his name? Maybe it's just better left unspoiled. Maybe we just leave it because it's good the way it is. Let's remember Battlestar Galactica. Stargate Universe. Guys, tomorrow I've got a video coming out on Stargate Universe on the Destiny. On Dimension Zero, at Dimension Zero. This is going to be on Facebook. It's going to be on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram. Tomorrow afternoon, before I go and see the Odyssey with 3 other people. With 3 other, there could have been, there might be 4 or 5, I don't know how many. The last I checked, there's 3 other people going to watch the Odyssey with me tomorrow in the first showing. So, anyway, I might be wrong about the Odyssey. Everything that I see, that I know, that I feel is not good. The pre-press is a disaster. It's become a DEI blowout BS. No Greek actors, but there is a Colombian. Thank Leguizamo, because, you know, boy, you sure are. Boy, John Leguizamo sure is a little bit of a freaking hypocrite. He's okay playing a Greek when there's no Greeks in a movie about a Greek frickin' historical story. That's okay, as long as I'm in it, right? As long as I'm in it, that's cool. We'll bastardize in other countries, you know, civilizations, stories. We'll you know, just don't mess with mine. I have no problem messing around with your BS. Just don't mess with, fuck you. Go to hell. Lugaziamo. Go to hell. Go to hell. It's ugly. It's ugly stuff. These are people that literally create the hate. Lugaziamo. These are the guys that create the hate. They're the guys that create the animosity. They're the guys that create the friction. And then they go and they're okay. A guy from Colombia, born in Bogota, playing a Greek after he spent years vilifying everyone else about, you're not Latino. Why are you playing a Latino? Okay, well, fine. Okay, well, why are you playing a Greek? Why is Elliot Page playing a man? I'm not here for a. I'm not here for a popularity contest. I mean, all I do is I see it. I call it the way I see it. Has nothing to do against anybody. You know what? Millie Alcock. I got nothing against Millie Alcock. If anything, it's the director. It's the scripts. Bad scripts. Let's turn to Supergirl for a little bit. Just a little bit. We don't need too much more. We don't need much more Supergirl. I haven't talked about it for a week. The very first time you see Supergirl, you realize that the story. Now, if you don't know much about story, if you're not a screenwriter and you're not you didn't go to university and learn creative writing, understanding the building blocks to story, creating a story, guys, is harder than creating a skyscraper. You can create a skyscraper a lot easier than you can create a great story. Why? Because the laws of physics will dictate exactly what you do, what you can do, and what you can't do. The laws of physics will determine whether you can create this or that. Now, the architects might say, I want to do this, and the engineers say, no, you cannot do that. No. That's not the way it works with story, all right? It's not the way it works with story. There should be someone saying, well, we're going to do this great story. We're going to do this. We're going to put a gay relationship here. We're going to put a chick in it and make her gay. That's what we're going to do, is make her freaking gay. We're going to put 3 chicks in it and make them gay. Which is fine if it's a gay love story. It's totally fine. We're gonna touch on Supergirl, and then Craig, I know this is a while ago, the Pegasus shows up episode. The first episode where the Pegasus shows up, I thought could have been so much more emotional. They start building the tension. They build the tension, and they just kind of so quickly, they just brush it off. Like, oh my God, guys. You could have used that for You could have milked the emotion out of that. You could have created. Oh, there was opportunity there, but it was well done. Yeah, and when you realized it was the Pegasus, you were like, as a Battlestar Galactica, you're like, because the old lady, right? You got this the Battlestar Galactica, which is literally saving humanity with a entire fleet of ragtag ships. And the Galactica, look, she could hold her own, right? She really could. She was a battle-hardened ship. But when the Pegasus showed up, you were like, damn. Right? You felt it. You felt it. Kane was a good captain. You know what? Here's another beautiful thing about Galactica, Battlestar Galactica. Kane was a female captain. She was ruthless, right? She shot the guy right there in the bridge when he wouldn't follow through with an order. These are female characters that don't exist today. This was 20 years ago. But Kane, who was the admiral of the Pegasus, she was a freaking tough ass woman. Admiral. You don't have to put woman in there. She was just a tough freaking admiral. There's no need to, dissect what female male parts she had. She was a brutal. I'm not sure if you could do a female character like that today. I mean, she was just brutal. She was a military captain of the most character I'm not sure you could do today. Admiral Kane of the Pegasus. You make Admiral Kane today? She'd be, she was gay, right? But it wasn't a big thing back then because it was part of the story. She was, she was having an affair with another, or a love relationship with another female, which turned out to be a Cylon, which turned out to be her demise. It was part of the story, guys, which is why it worked. There's so many great things to Galactica. If you haven't watched Battlestar Galactica, the 2004 reimagined series, watch it. It's different than Star Trek. It's different than Star Wars. It's real. And I'll guarantee you, when you get your little choo-choo train, your little bicycle wheels spinning, it's pretty cool. It's a pretty cool series. And it's a big part of me that hopes they never redo it. We're getting... I thought we were getting into Supergirl. Ben Feister. Oh my God. Yo, what's up, guy? Been a while. We're doing some more pop rages for you. Hope you're having a great week, Ben Feister. I hope you are, my friend. Ben Feister is a friend for many months, I guess, since I've started the live streams months back. Batman. Great. Batman is never dead. Hold on a sec. I'll do this for you, my friend.
Batman is never dead.
Was that good? Was that good? Oh, no. Okay, Ben Feister. Nolan's Batman, badass. When you watch my Pop Rages, I will put, now it's going to be a while because this is a lot of work to do. Like I've dissected the first 4 or 5 scenes. Every scene is a joke. Every scene is a joke of Nolan's Batman. Dark Knight Rises, the Dark Knight Rises is one of the worst movies ever made, if you ask me. That's a Razzie Award movie. Really, Bane? Of course. That's a Razzie Award movie. Ben Feister, we will have to disagree. The Odyssey? WTF? What? My friend. I did. Oh, okay. Yes, my friend. Yes, Craig. The writers? Well, not die. Okay, I got to do more live streams. Like you know what happened? This live stream, I had no prep on this live stream. Very little prep because it was all technical. Trying to get from StreamYard to Restream and this and that. I mean, like to the last minute, I was like, what am I going to talk about? But when the cameras roll and you're like a a live, like, because I thrive on live. And I guess I do know my stuff enough to be able to talk about it. And of course, the input from you guys. The writing is hard work. And what a lot of writers do today is what they're expected to do. I do want to, I also want to talk about, DC is done. James Gunn is he doesn't know how to run a company. He's never run a company. You're gonna give a guy here, you're running, basically when you're running division of Warner, you're running a company. The DC universe is in an absolute disaster mode. It is in crash and burn mode. It is, having worked on Wall Street, I was a market maker on NYSE, an economic analyst on NASDAQ, NYSE, and a market maker through Arca, Instinet, and Island back in the day. If the DC universe was its own trading company, the thing would be crashing. It would be crashing. This would be a penny stock within a year. That's what DC universe would be. James Gunn is done. He's finished. He's proven unequivocally. So when I create a universe, and I'm a screenwriter, I've created 3 different universes. How you start with creating a universe? You create an overarching tension. What is this whole universe fighting over? What's the basis of the fight? What are the rules of the universe? How do characters interact? What's their, what is the basis for these characters to exist? The Gunverse is I wish I had a fart sound. It's the worst of the Gunverse is the worst of all the universes. It's the worst. I watched Batman v Superman a week and a half ago. Watch Batman v Superman and then watch Superman 2025. When you get to that scene where Henry Cavill and Ben Affleck meet at Lex Luthor, remember that one? You guys remember that one? That's when we introduced to Wonder Woman. Look, Zack Snyder is capable of amazing cinema. The Watchmen. Have you watched The Watchmen, guys? If you haven't seen The Watchmen, the movie, not the TV series, the movie. The guy that played Rorschach, what's his name? Holy jeez, there's some, honestly, guys, there's some acting in that movie that is brilliant. I don't think he had anything to do with the screenwriting, but the cinematography, the whole, Zack Snyder is capable of some amazing, just don't give him the pen to start writing, because Rebel Moon proved that, right? Rebel Moon proved Zack Snyder, do not give him a pen or a keyboard. But he is capable of some amazing stuff. There we go. Ben Feister, why can't the guys who made Troy make the Odyssey? I have this habit of halfway through a comment to start talking. Laughing out loud, seriously, Sean Bean reprising as Odysseus with Clash of the Titans visuals. I'd pay to see that Odyssey. Now, Sean Bean, that's a good point, Ben Feister. Sean Bean as Odysseus, they could have younged him up a little bit, right? A little bit. Boromir. Yeah, he was. Yeah, no, that's a good point. That's a good point. Sean Bean, because he's in his mid-60s. I think he's like 7, 8 years older than I am. Now, Ben, Troy was Brad Pitt was quite upset with Troy. He was upset with the character. Now, and I agree with Brad Pitt's comments with that character because his strength was so in your face. Like it was so, and you never want, like Gandalf, right? Gandalf is a power that is, and you want to see Gandalf's power so bad. You know, Gandalf is uber powerful, right? You know it. And you never get to see the full force of what he can do. We never get to see it. And that's what tempts us, keeps us wanting more from a character. And the same was with all characters in whether it's Troy and this was Brad Pitt's. He wanted an Achilles that was in your face, but it wasn't so in your face that was like, ah. And I agree with Brad Pitt. I totally agree with Brad Pitt. From a screenwriting perspective, from a character development, we could have massaged that character into something that was, but Ben Feister, overall, without getting into those details, totally agree. Did you see the Supergirl merch drinking? I did see the cup. I did. It's getting roasted so much. It's hysterical. I did see the cup. Oh my freaking God. This is what? It's part of the problem, isn't it? It's part of the problem. It's a symptom, right? It's like when you have like, it's like when someone has, let's say, like meningitis that can kill you. It's part of the symptoms. I think our patient is sick. Oh, he's fine. Don't worry. He's just fine. What are you worrying about? Well, he's coughing. He's got a fever. Looking pretty bad, I'm sighing. He's not looking very good, is he? Oh, he's fine. Don't worry about it. He's fine. Put a chick in it. Make her gay. All right. Did you see the Supergirl merch? Oh, wait, we just did that one. Yeah. Clash Cool. Scotty. Crank, Supergirl, domestic box office. Thank you for the numbers, my friend. Thank you. Now I don't have to punch them up. 60,387,231 international box office, domestic. I got to comment on this. International box office, 43.4 million worldwide. With our total box office, this is Supergirl, guys, for a total box office of $103.787 million. It's like a double salute. Yeah. Look, Craig, I will guarantee you that production budget is pushing 200. Yeah. Look, I remember when they announced Supergirl as the second movie, you're like, okay, wait a second. Holy geez, brother. James Gunn. Okay, that wasn't the first clue, but it was the first major clue that this guy is clueless. James Gunn, I'm telling you, James Gunn has no right running a studio. There's proof in the pudding. I have nothing against James Gunn. I've never met him, despite my 20 years in Hollywood. I have never met him. I have no reason to hate the guy, love the guy, nothing of the guy. But when you you're telling me that Supergirl was the best story. Oh, this is such a good story. I would like to know what prompted what, because it couldn't have been the script. Because if it was the script, you are the worst script writer. Seriously. And I'm not being mean, James Gunn. You are the worst script reader in the history of studio executives. You and Safran, you guys really thought that this, holy...
Everybody, hey, baby.
Very shagadelic, baby.
I don't even know what do I know what I need. I know what I need. We needed a donkey is what we needed. Yeah. If I was David Zaslav, the CEO of Warner, and let's say I wasn't selling, but you did, and you're making personally $600 million for 2.5 years of being CEO of Warner. Okay, great. Yeah, I guess that's worth it. Whatever. I got whatever. But if it wasn't being sold and I was David Zaslav, I'd be like, oh my freaking God. I would, you know what? I would get rid of James Gunn. There's no way David Ellison keeps him. There is no way. There's no way. It's like you've been hired to, let's say you've been, one of those big, things that, scoop dirt. And someone says, oh yeah, no, I'm good at work at one of those things. I've worked those things for years. I know my stuff. And and the first day of work, he gets in there and he starts and the freaking thing wipes out one house and it destroys a car. And this, I thought you knew how to work this thing. I do. It's just the car got in the way and the house, where'd that house come from? It's like James Gunn. I have nothing against the guy, but this is the worst studio head in the, of recent memory for studio heads. You guys remember Superman 2025? Rewatch it and see how stupid it is. It's right up there with Christopher Nolan Batman movies. It really is. That's how stupid it is. And if you think I'm lying about Batman, Christopher Nolan movies, rewatch them and literally watch what is going on. But in Superman, you remember that they're sitting there, they open, it's nighttime, they open the back of the van and this little gremlin walks out. Goes running off. Oh, okay, what is this? Where is this going? Okay, I'm watching. Where is this going? It doesn't seem very, it's like, don't worry, it'll get bigger. The very next scene, guys, watch this stupid freaking movie. After we just watched a clone of Superman beat Superman from Lex Luthor, calling out commands, going to a computer, and then going to the, you think Superman just couldn't have, you think Superman couldn't have just done, like, and that's human speed. He fights it. By the time he got one stupid command off, Z74, Superman would have let off, 1,000 punches on his clone? Dear God, James Gunn, you are a frickin' you. So this gremlin goes running out of the back of a van. And then the next day, it's 300 feet tall. It's 300 feet tall. Okay. It's 300 feet tall. And then Superman comes. And then we get the worst Green Lantern in the history of Green Lanterns show up. We get Hawkgirl, who is the worst Hawkgirl in the history of Hawkgirl, show up. We got Mr. Terrific, which is, sorry, man, I'm not buying the BS that he was such a great character. And they're making a TV series out of him. I hope that works out well. It won't. Mr. Terrific wasn't that good of a character. Stop playing the BS. Fuck me. All this stuff is just Hollywood is just shooting their own smoke up each other's butts. 20 years in Hollywood, I'm out. I'm out of Hollywood. I'm done. I moved from Los Angeles about a year ago after 20 years. And it smells a lot better. It smells a lot better. So Superman, so he saves the world from this 300-foot gremlin who was the night before. The gremlin was, 3 feet tall. And now Lex Luthor goes on TV and tells the world that he's got harems and he hasn't broken any law, but he's got to turn him. Oh my God. So, and then you go into Supergirl's script and like you're in your office. And I'm assuming, right? I'm James Gunn, right? Maybe I'm reading on a screen. Maybe I'm reading paper form. Oh, geez, this is good. Oh man, this is what happens next? Wow. Supergirl drinks and says, "Oh my God, this is gonna turn out bad. ... For you." Oh, I love it. Oh my God. I love the ... for you. Oh, this is so good. What a great script. And then, oh my God. And I love the idea of Lobo playing Jason Momoa. Because Lobo, will Lobo play Jason Momoa? Because if we can get Lobo to play Jason Momoa in this movie, out of the park home run. And this is great. Oh, so okay, so the 4'9" girl doesn't kill Krem because Supergirl gives the speech, but then Supergirl kills her? Oh, this is the best script ever read. This is it's the best script ever read. Pre-production tomorrow morning, guys. Pre-production tomorrow frickin' morning. Jesus. Unfreaking believable. I grew up reading and watching older film productions of the Odyssey. There's a few older ones. There are. I don't know if they're great or anything, but there's nothing. Ben Feister, the Odyssey should have looked more like Troy. It should have looked more like Troy. I point more to 300. I point more to a little bit more like 300. So when I take a look at Odysseus, it's almost like Leonidas with Achilles. You don't need that. You need a little bit more humble in Odysseus. Odysseus needs to be, you can start him off with like a Leonidas type character, but he gets humbled as he goes through what he needs to go through, right? He gets humbled. That's the character arc. And then when he's down at his lowest point, just before he gets back to Ithaca, and he has to fight, with the whole bow thing and all the suitors and everything, for his own crown. That's when he reasserts himself as potentially the great man that he was. He doesn't start off as a particularly great man in the Odyssey. He doesn't. He's not like a Leonidas. But yes. Follow history. History is a great thing, especially the antiquity. Antiquity is amazing, right? More dB. Decibels? Lots wrong with Dummywood. Oh yeah, my friend. Oh yeah, Dummywood. I like me a little Dummywood. No, I don't. I moved from Dummywood. I thought, okay. So Crank says, check your other channel's chat, my man. I'm on Restream. I'm on Restream, which is a new, because I was on StreamYard. Now I'm on Restream. I thought everything comes to my chat here. If you're saying it's not, I now have to check. No, I am. Yeah, I got to check. I'm not sure. I thought. I'm not typing all that. Shit. I don't know. I don't know where you're typing. Okay, I'm gonna. I don't know. I'm not even sure if I can check. I know. I get you. I got you, my friend. This is supposed to consolidate all the chats together. Original still rocks. I'm very far behind on the chats because let me look. I was doing. I think it's just because I just been doing so much yakking, right? Scotty's Wild, Glenn A. Larson. Oh God, no more Starfleet Academy, please! I know, please. No, look. The great thing about now, I've questioned whether David Ellison is actually going to release it. What's the point? It's canceled. It was so bad. Why would you even release? It's like Batgirl. Take the tax write-off and don't take the embarrassment. I have always said, why would you even release it? Why would you release season 2 of Starfleet Academy? Like Kurtzman, look, he knew the writing was on the wall. That's why he pushed through 2 seasons of Strange New Worlds. That's why he pushed through 2 seasons of Starfleet Academy. He knew his tenure was done. He was over with. The slop, the destruction of Star Trek is over. The reboot of Star Trek. LOL. Edward James Olmos. Thank you. Edward James Olmos. That's my man. Edward James. Adama was a great captain. Nope. Great storyline for both. Where are we here? What I got that agreed? 65. 65. Weird. That was for an age, right? You guys 7 years older than me. Never got to finish New Galactica. Scotty, 2004 reimagined Galactica. It's worth a watch. Most people who have watched the reimagined 2004 Galactica will tell you it's worth a watch. The characters, you start to really enjoy the characters. You start to enjoy sort of the concepts that maybe you wouldn't think would happen, but then when you realize, it's like, okay, this makes sense. I am actually rewatching slowly. I'm rewatching again Battlestar Galactica. What do you know about writer Philip K. Dick's stories in Hollywood? I think it will be a long, long time before we see works like his again. I need to. Yeah. No, we're not gonna. No, dude, we're not gonna see. Well, actually, if some of my stories get screenplays get put out, I'm not saying I am to this gentleman's level. This is a master writer, and I had to make sure we're talking about the same guy. And it was a tragedy that he died in 82, 53 years old, 82. You know what? This is actually a really good. This was a great writer. This guy, he was. This guy. And Craig, thank you for bringing this up. Like this is this gentleman, Philip Kendrick Dick was born in Chicago in December 1928, along with a twin sister Jane. Jane died less than 8 weeks later, allegedly from an allergy to mother's milk. Dick's parents split up during his job. I want to. He's 5'10". I didn't know. Okay, that's to understand who this guy was. What did he write? He's known for Blade Runner. Guys, Blade Runner. 1982 Blade Runner. You're telling me that's one of the most freaking classic movies of all freaking time. If you have not watched the original Blade Runner, stop what you're doing and just watch it. Minority Report. Total Recall. What else was he known for? Blade Runner 2049. I don't know, some people didn't like that. But you see, this is a sci-fi. This is a sci-fi genius. This is a sci-fi genius. That's the way writing. Now, it also takes a great director to take an idea, concept, and then to take a book and to turn it into a screenplay that makes sense, right? So it takes a few people to do it. Conceptually, I would argue some of my screenplays. Anyway, I don't know if they're to that level, but his level. Will we see another person of his? Not in Hollywood. Hollywood is finished. Hollywood is done. Hollywood cannot create stories. This is the problem. They cannot tell stories anymore. The DEI, the whole, woke this, woke that, put a chick in and make her gay, whatever. It's about storytelling. If you remember Excalibur, what is the secret of the Grail? Is that, the whole idea that King Arthur lost that secret. And when he realized where his guilt was and all of the bad parts to his, was, and he woke up from that deep sleep, he realized, will Hollywood wake up? Like Excalibur is one of the greatest freaking movies. You talk about sci-fi fantasy, Excalibur. Right? Got Excalibur. Will Hollywood wake up from that slumber? There's still Holy Grail for Hollywood. It's a politicized POS. But Crank, great point. His stories are we lost him way too soon. Hollywood fails. Yeah, it does. It does. Gold there. Inconceivable. Ben Feister. Make Son Bean Odysseus again. Fire Nolan. I think the Odyssey is going to do a lot worse than people think, guys. It really is. And I've said this since day 2. Because day 1, I thought Nolan was good. Then I realized, wait a sec. Wait, what? I held a slight amount of hope. But it's almost like this movie has to tank for the sheer stupidity of how it's put together. This shows, look, the Odyssey shows, there's a lot of reasons I can show how the Batman trilogy is way overhyped. And I know a lot of people will push back against it, which is fine. But look, I can go through the screenplay, show you the stupidity scene by scene. The utter convenience. What's the chance of, what's his name? Morgan Freeman being in acquisition talks to buy Lao's mob-infested company, and then he goes to Hong Kong, and then he lays all the... Oh, my God. Oh, my fucking God. Nolan is so overrated. So overrated. But I do agree with Sean Bean. Yeah, I totally agree with that. I do. Woke joke. Woke a joke. My hero, Harrison Ford in the Blade Runner, a fun and very underrated film. It is a great movie. It is one of the greatest movies. It is one of Ridley Scott's top movies. Everyone has got to watch that if you're into movies, theater, sci-fi, fantasy. You have got to watch the original Harrison Ford, Ridley Scott Blade Runner. Solar Babies was cool, but little known. Oh, yeah. What? Yeah. Oh, God. So I graduated high school in 1985. This came out in 1986. That's why I remember it. 4.8 out of 10. Look, this was 1980s. This was 1980s sci-fi. Last Starfighter, also cool. I know that. Oh yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah, 19. Yeah, that. I watched it back in 84, 85. I barely remember it. This is stuff. This is that 1980s. It's like Beastmaster, right? You're going back to the 1980s movies. If I watched it, I would say, oh yeah. But Ben Weister, I'm gonna bawl my eyes when Harrison Ford finally goes. I stand by this. Harrison is a once in a generation jewel of an actor who made household name timeless. Look, without Harrison Ford, I question whether Star Wars would exist in the way that it is today. A lot of his input for the character and the one-liners and who Han Solo was, Harrison Ford is a lot more talented than Mark Hamill. Harrison Ford, yeah, I agree. Harrison created characters that will outlive him for... Oh, of course. Han Solo and whatchamacallit? Raiders of the Lost Ark, Indiana Jones. I mean, those are the two main ones. But you can look Blade Runner. Look, I'm not sure. He was a perfect cast for Blade Runner. He really was. Star Wars, Splinter of the Mind's Eye. Indiana Jones, Air Force One, The Fugitive, Star Wars. There you go. Most modern Hollywood actors will never have this level of a resume. I'm not even sure it's possible anymore, Ben Feister. I don't think it's possible. I do not think that it's possible anymore. I don't. Think those times are gone. Hollywood is done. They've lost the Holy Grail. Let me put it back to the idea of Excalibur, King Arthur. When you lose the Holy Grail, you lose everything that was the fulcrum, the tree, the center of the tree that allowed every limb to grow. That was storytelling. Storytelling is what we do around campfires. Storytelling is what we did 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 years ago. It is what we will do 1,000 years from now. We will sit around campfires. We will sit around living room sofas and friends. We will tell stories. We'll tell ghost stories. We'll tell personal stories. We will tell stories some people are better than others. But that is the human condition. We want to hear stories. We want to be inspired. We want to cry. We want to feel dread. We want to feel fear, anxiety. We want to feel these things for these fictitious characters that create. You guys know that cinematic experience, right? You know that movie where you're going to see a movie that you want to see, and it's almost like you smell the popcorn before you get there, right? And when you get into the theater, you've got your ticket and you walk in and you see the popcorn. It's never as good as the thought of it is. The thought of the popcorn is always better. But I always get my popcorn double butter halfway. I don't want to get halfway through my popcorn and then no butter halfway through. I want a nice zesty amount of butter halfway through. I usually like a little bit of chocolate, right? It's the experience. The movie experience is brilliant. Now they've been killing us because now for one person to go, you want that popcorn, you want to see a movie, popcorn, and you want to drink and everything else is $50. $50 for 2 hours. Great book. I'm not sure which one, but Scotty, I'm going to agree with you. Just because, my friend, just because. So Supergirl, to end with Supergirl, I think this is the end of Supergirl. I also think this is the end of the DC universe. Look, I mean, I bring this up and I've owned businesses I've taken my own companies public. I've owned businesses that have had dozens of employees. I've never had a job except for being a bartender. I've always run my own business. Running a business, like running a studio, is no different than running, let's say, like your personal finances. X amount comes in, you can't have X plus 1 go out. X plus Y, X plus whatever. You want, less than X going out if you earn X, period. Same thing with a movie. I would look for, and one big thing, Goy, story will always beat spectacle. The Odyssey strikes me as spectacle. It's $1 million movie with an incredible story will beat a $200 million movie with no story. We will fall in love with characters as long as the acting is okay, the story is powerful. James Gunn should not be running DC. Nothing against, I don't even know the guy. What do I care? If these are the decisions you've made, based on the decisions you've made, you're done. Some people have said that he'll go back to Marvel. No freaking way, man. Marvel is not taking James Gunn back. Are you freaking kidding me? Well, I know you screwed up DC really bad. James? Can I call you James? Would you mind coming and screwing up? Would you mind coming up and screwing a little bit more of MCU? Come and screw MCU a little bit more. Doomsday is another story altogether, guys. Doomsday is a joke, and I've said it from day one. What a joke. What a joke Doomsday is. That will be for another day. That'll be for another day. I want to get to, done. Supergirl, done. Odyssey, done. House of the Dragon. Guys, House of the Dragon. Let's touch on House of the Dragon. Have you been watching House of the Dragon? Now, I know a lot of people, if you've read the books, you're hating on it. You are. You are. I have not read the books, and I think it's some of the best TV out there. And that's because there's not a whole lot of good TV out there right now, okay? There's no good TV. There's very minimal good TV out there. With that being said, I got to get to that. With that being said, being in Hollywood for 20 years, a screenwriter, I look at what's been happening at House of the Dragon. First season, 10 episodes. And all of a sudden, we've had this second season. What in the hell just happened? Second season, it just went to 8 episodes, and now the third season is 8 episodes, 10 episodes, 8, 8. It was like all of a sudden. Now, having worked in the stock market, this and you know, I tearing apart income statements and balance sheets and cash flow statements, it would not have surprised me. Listen up, listen up. Why did season 2 turn into what the frick is going on? For 2 reasons. They couldn't get the season done. It was just too much. They could not get the season done. They couldn't. The other thing is, if they went from 10 episodes to 8 episodes, they could push $40 to $60 million in expenses legally into the next quarter, into the next maybe even fiscal year. They could push a lot of expenses to make that prior quarter look good. So it looks like to me, even from a financial perspective, it looks like they went from 10 episodes to 8 because season 3 is 8 episodes, that they could literally cut the budgets down. Look, 40, 50, 60 million dollars on an income statement is a big deal for a company the size of Warner. Now, for a company the size of Microsoft, you know, what does it take? 50 Warners to equal a Microsoft? Maybe more, 75 Warners to equal a Microsoft. It could even be more. It could be 100. I have to check the market cap. And that, I think, messed up the entire story. Now, the worst part about episode 3, if you watched episode 3, I liked where they were going with it. I get where they were going. You've got to create tension. You're writing something and you've got characters. It was a natural progression. They come and they take over King's Landing and there's no one to help her run the bureaucracy. It makes sense. She didn't put anyone in place. There was nobody, and all of a sudden, all the questions come to her. Now, the economic despair in the kingdom. You start to realize, you know what? Running a kingdom is a lot more than just wanting it. I like that. Now, the problem I had, it was way too convenient. At the end, they needed to create more tension. And the worst thing was with Corliss. Now, you could argue that the Valerians... You could argue the fact that they were race swapped. Would I have done it? No. No. That's a pretty big change. It's a pretty big change in the books. I liked how GOT did the races. Like there was a mix of different people. You could have pushed that a little bit more from that perspective. But to change the Valerians into... And I understand how some people have a problem with it. I have a little bit of a problem with it. I think some of the actors are okay, but it seemed like a really cheap way to go DEI really fast. And it feels that way more with every season. But I do like some of the characters and the actors that are sort of being pushed out there. But what I didn't like is there is no way that Rhaenyra, you needed to have more motivation. When what's his name? Corliss? Corliss? I'm telling you, you go live and you get instant stupid. And I know what, because everything you say is on the record, right? On the record. So when you make stupid mistakes, it's on there. You're like, wait a sec, is that right or not? And I'm pretty sure it's Grandmaster Orwell. There's some Lord Corliss, the sea snake. Yeah, the sea snake. It's the problem of being live. Steve Toussaint, I think, is an excellent actor. I do like him. Would I have made the Valerians swap the race? It's a pretty big change. I probably wouldn't have done it. If I wanted to have more mix of people, I would have done it just like GOT in a maybe slightly more pronounced way. I have no problem with people being more involved, but at the behest of the story and the behest of the idea of the makeup of the races, it's a question that people, you can argue it one way or the other. I wouldn't have done it. I wouldn't have done it the way that they did it. I wouldn't have. But when he asked his two sons to become, with name, to become his two bastard sons to become, and then Rhaenyra said no. Motivation is the biggest thing, guys. When I'm writing when I'm writing a script, and it becomes a big decision, there had better be a big force pushing back. And if there's not, you better go back to the beginning of the episode or the episode previous and make it make sense. Because if you're going to tell Corlys now that he cannot, when he is making his plea and you want his support, like, holy shit, he did some pretty good arguments at the end. And you don't go, shit, okay, maybe you're right. It doesn't make sense. That was a problem with me. Now, how do you fix that? You fix that by creating a huge motivation. What would the people think of me then? Who fucking cares? Well, what do you have without Corlys? You want to push. So it happened. That was, if I have a big problem with the episode, that was my biggest problem with the episode. And of course, now it is, I know some people gave it a hard time when she said, I'm bleeding. And then she went to what's her name and said, I'm bleeding. A lot of the guys made jokes about it. I'm not a female, but if you are a female watcher, you will understand, you will know the fact that a guy, I get a little bit, like, honest, like, I get a little bit, okay, look, guys, we're lucky. We don't bleed where we go to the bathroom. I'm not even sure what I can say sometimes on these. We don't bleed there. If we did, once every 4 weeks, maybe we'd have a different take on the concept of it. The concept of it. Right? Every woman understands it. I know that. Every woman understands it. Every guy thinks it's stupid. Not every guy. I don't think it's a stupid notion. Because it's just an added part of her stress level. And all of a sudden, if you're sitting there on the throne, I know the fact that she grabbed the throne, is supposed to be bleeding at the throne, rejected her, and all this stuff in the book, yada, yada, yada. I get it. I know that. To me, it was just one more thing that she's trying to deal with all this stuff. And she realized this is Rhaenyra in the book is different than they broke her up into Daemon and Rhaenyra. Daemon is the strong, ruthless guy. Rhaenyra is learning, and she, right from the time she took what's his name's head, she is gonna, I imagine what her character arc is, that she's gonna go from someone who is slightly innocent, benign in the idea of running, ignorant to the idea of running a city-state, and it's going to get to her, and she's going to go a little bit Danny, not Danny Alex, but Danny Targaryen. But the motivations at the end were bad. But overall, guys, season 3 of House of the Dragon is watchable. It's watchable. If you want to find things that, look, you can find things in every movie to point at. I can pick any Christopher Nolan movie and tear it apart at the stupidity of what happens. Tenet, you're going to call your freaking character the protagonist? You couldn't think of call him John Smith. I got a name, John Smith, the protagonist. Fuck me. Stupidity. Only Christopher Nolan could get away with it. Only. And that shows the retardedness of some of the stuff that he does. Even Steven Spielberg, till the mid-2000s, was revered as the greatest filmmaker until he fell with a reckless abandon. But his work still is there. His work, Steven Spielberg's incredible work is there. Christopher Nolan, his work does not match what Steven Spielberg did. From the 1980 to 2005, 2008. Steven Spielberg has a much more powerful repertoire of movies compared to Christopher Nolan. Christopher Nolan is a name and spectacle because the stories he writes are not very good. They're not. Oppenheimer was good. From a screenwriter, I'll give him Oppenheimer. Agree the fact that most modern Hollywood films are built on nostalgia and retelling of older 80s, 90s iconic IPs. That confirms to me the 80s, 90s was the golden age of Hollywood films and storytelling. 2000s had some good movies. Started off with Lord of the Rings, Pirates of the Caribbean. There's a lot of movies in the early mid 2000s that really came out looking good, and they will continue to look good. But yes, yeah, 80s, I don't know, 80s. There are some, yeah, well, obviously there are some good 80s movies. Not as much. I think modern movie making started in the 90s, but there are some killer ones like Ridley Scott, right? Ridley Scott has Spielberg, Lucas. There's some huge movie makers of that era that basically defined what we watch today. Rehash, money, money, Billy Idol. Splinter of the Mind's Eye Star Wars book. Agreed for me, 80% story with 20% CGI spectacle is my balance in storytelling. Lord of the Rings proved that. Story will always usurp a great story. You can tell a great story with minimal money. Popcorn with a side of nacho cheese to dip it in. Oh, God, I'm looking forward to the movie. You know, the only reason I'm not looking forward to the Odyssey, I'm looking forward to the cinema experience tomorrow. Just going, and I go myself. Sometimes the ranch seasoning instead of salt. I'm down. Just smell the popcorn. And then you sit. Guys, can I say something? People sit there and they complain about the trailers and everything before the movie. I'm okay with it. I do. It's part of the experience for me. You're watching trailers of movies that are coming. What's wrong with that? The problem is I almost finished my popcorn by the time the trailers are done. That's the problem. I always tell myself, don't eat all the popcorn. Stop eating the popcorn. Stop eating the damn popcorn, Danny. Mojo, you know what? I'm not streaming to Rumble tonight, but next week I will. I do have Rumble set up. I like right before the stream. I set up Rumble. Dimension Zero and Poprageous are both on Rumble. I'm going to include Rumble from now on. I am. Rumble. Was not currently. Yeah. When he needs a safe place, probably net getting constructive. I'm not sure where that one. When he needs a safe place, probably not getting. Not sure what that one refers to. Net may force him to a less constrictive place. We're talking about Nolan and the net, the net. Real life is a shit story in itself. It is. Did Nolan write this crap? I'm like, do I think Christopher Nolan is a good movie maker? He is. He has talent, obviously. He's a shit story writer. He covers up his incredibly bad stories with spectacle. Incredibly bad stories. Dark Knight, The Dark Knight is some of the worst script writing. And there's a guy, another screenwriter in Hollywood. What's his name? Tom, what's his name? Who thinks it's the best ever written. It's the best movie ever written. You're a freaking screenwriter? Really? Are you not watching? Did you not watch the first scene of this movie? The second scene? The bus, a yellow bus that just backed into a freaking bank and now it just pulls out and there happens to be a space in the school bus. There's no way the cops could have figured that out. There's no fuck. Go to hell. Like if audiences are that stupid, like if they're that stupid, we're in more trouble than we think. For me, Steven Spielberg, James Cameron, Peter Jackson, Ivan Reitman is my top film producers that built Hollywood in the 80s and 90s. Yes, there's a couple, one or two that I'm trying to think of, and of course, on the spot, I can't. But I'm not going to argue with you, Ben. I'm not arguing. I'm not. Good show, laddie. Rock on, bro, Scotty. You know what? I love the live experience. I even like going live because look, the stress when you're not prepared for going live and maybe you haven't done any preparation or not enough preparation. You realize you go live and it doesn't matter because it's about the conversation. It's about stuff, right? It's about talking and listening. And it's about going into stuff about even having a basic understanding. And the live experience is because you got to think from a creator perspective. You got I bash my. I want to go into almost total live and get away because look in Facebook. I do a lot of stuff in Facebook. It almost pays the bills, but it quite doesn't. Look, streaming and doing this stuff is so hard, guys. I do not recommend doing it. I don't. You've got to have your poop together. I'm probably another year off to being like, paying my bills with this stuff. Even with a growing amount of subscribers. And thank you for everyone who's subscribed, or buys a membership every month. Look, not everyone's in the same economic position, but those people that do buy memberships, I thank you very much because, does it help? Yeah, it helps a lot. And being a creator, and of course, I want to get to make my own movies through the revenue that's generated on Dimension Zero and Poprageous. So that's going to create the infusion of capital into creating those movies. We were so close to doing the first sick in 2022, 2023 with my New Zealand buddies. Great directors come from New Zealand. They really do. There's some great movie people from New Zealand. And, but anyway, it's, everybody, look, when you watch the videos, when you subscribe, when you like, when you comment, when you do anything, thank you for being a part of something that basically I created out of nothing. And you participate with me, you talk with me. I sit in a room by myself for a few hours, talking with the world. Hopefully I make the world a brighter place for some people. The fact that we're all together doing stuff. And I know I got to do more live streams because it's just the idea of doing live streams. You may not agree with me. We may not agree on everything, and we're not going to. You might love the Nolan Batman movies, and that's okay. That is okay because there's enough there to love. The spectacle of it, right? There really is. Rumble, safe and free. I know. I never get much success off Rumble, but being I'm a small creator. I'm pretty big on Facebook though. 105,000 followers. But Facebook never gives anything. So even this is the first live on Facebook. But when you go big on YouTube, YouTube is Meta has a little bit to learn from YouTube. I think they do. Maybe he had to write the bad ones under contract. Well, maybe. Oh, the last one, that's the argument, right? That he didn't want to do the third Batman and like the third one. Of course.
Of course. Let me try one more.
Of course, I am a silent. My name is Starbuck. Hey, Katie. Sack off. I am a Cylon. Trisha Hefner. I like the women of. I do. Where am I here? Let's get rid of this.
I do. I like the women. I like the women of Battlestar Galactica. I do. I like the women of Battlestar Galactica. Such great characters. They're not Mary Sue's. None of the women of Battlestar Galactica are Mary Sue's. You guys know I went for a walk. So I didn't hit the gym today. I slept till 4:10. My alarm is set to 2:16 a.m. I slept till 4:10. I slept in. I was like, I missed the gym and everything. So I said, bad Danny. I went for a walk. I put 3-pound weights on my ankles. And I usually go for a 45-minute walk. I went for an hour and 15 walk to like some sort of religious punishment for myself, right? Bad Danny, bad. I did. I must have burned 600, 700, 800 calories. I was just sweating. It was like, what was it? 28 Celsius, which is what I got 85 Fahrenheit. Ooh. Trying to give the guy an out. Yeah. Well, ever see Wuthering Heights? No. But I've heard of. I know of what you speak. I had someone. I don't know who it was. Someone told me on a stream to watch Deadwood. I watched it. I loved Deadwood. I freaking loved it. I watched the whole thing. I wish I could watch it again. I loved Deadwood. Oh, you know what I should do? I gotta move this like this. But not like that. Ivan Reitman, the Ghostbusters twins, that Ivan Reitman. That is the guy. Do I have any wine left? I have one little sip of. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Canadian producer and director Ivan Reitman created many American cinema's successful and beloved film comedies. Yeah. Up in the Air, Meatballs, Ghostbusters, Heavy Metal. I know. Thank you. Absolutely. Heavy Metal. I remember back in the early 80s, 1980. This is right around the time Conan the Barbarian was coming out. And I was, oh, my pen fell. I was, 1980. I was 12, 13 years old. Conan was coming out. I couldn't watch it because it was restricted. And they had but I remember Heavy Metal. And I don't think I saw that till I was like 13 or 14 years old. Meatballs. Yeah, this is, he's got 5 upcoming. 5 upcoming. Stripes is wow. Disturbia. You know, it's Space Jam. He produced Space Jam. Oh my god. You know, it's looks like he's just a producer now. He's putting the deals together. You get to a certain point, I think, and you know you're a director and you get. But yeah, Ivan Reitman. We lost him in 2022, February 12th, 2022. But yeah, that's look. There's some great people that we were. Why is it so important, guys? This is, some people might think it's only movies. It's not. It's stories. These are stories. These are things that are foundational to society, just like the Greeks. And we lost when the Library of Alexandria burned down, through all of the book burnings throughout history. We've lost so many jewels of antiquity. Stories are. That's one thing that GOT. Remember the season finale, the whole and being a screenwriter, being a writer, being a creative writing person. Stories do form the spine of society. If society collapses and we're back to talking stories about campfires, it's those stories that will inspire us to rebuild. That's what makes stories and movies so important. They're important. They are critical. It's not just pop culture, it is culture. And having our stories hijacked by ridiculous political BS? Do I care whether a character is gay or not? Do I need to know how they serve breakfast in bed? I don't. I don't care. I don't care which way the choo-choo goes. I don't. So quick fun question. Pick your 4 Mount Rushmore of comedic actors if the 80s and 90s, and why. Oh, dude, you can't put me on the spot like that. There's so many, like you got to go to the SNL crew right away, right? Right away. What's his name? Dr. Doolittle, right? Right away. The big fat guy that died, SNL. Yeah, look, you could argue Richard Pryor. Richard Pryor back in those days was big. George Carlin. You give me more time to think, and I could give you, just a list of people. Boy, we're talking 45 years ago, right? No charge on donations. So I got no charge. Battlestar Galactica. Girls are awesome. Yes, they are. Yes, they are. All of them. Like, there's some good female characters in Battlestar Galactica. Well beyond any other sci-fi movie or TV show. Way more. BSG, Battlestar Galactica, had the most compelling female characters. Arguably the best captain. Right up there with Jean-Luc Picard and Captain Kirk. Adama was a stalwart of confidence. Like, even just watching him, you felt better, right? You just watched him, you thought, okay, the world's a better place because Adama is commanding the Galactica, right? 1 in a quadrillion. That's a big number. Eureka Kicks. I don't know what to say. Yellowstone and the spin-offs are good. Yes, I have to admit, I watched Yellowstone. I didn't finish it. Drifted off. Maybe I could have finished watching that, right? I always been Always been a Kevin Costner fan. Always have been. One of my favorite movies is still, guys, Dances with Wolves. There's no way. I mean, that is movie brilliance. Dances with Wolves is movie brilliance, because right after that we got Braveheart, which was, William Wallace. I remember the character he played, but I can't remember the actor. Like, holy shit. Braveheart was awesome. What a great movie, right? But Dances with Wolves, it's good cinema. It's good cinema. Typos or a keyboard error. I need to replace it. Yeah, well, I know. Yeah, I know. Yep. Steve Martin, Rick Moranis. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Robin Williams, John Candy. That's 50% Canadians. It's 50% Canadians. Of course, I mean, I have a social in both countries. So I grew up in Canada. I grew up in Calgary, Alberta, Canada. Spent 20 years in Los Angeles. John Candy. What a guy. John Ritter. Did we lose? Come and knock on my door. We've been waiting for you. Where the kisses are hers and his. Three's company too. You know, there's some great stuff that just puts fun in our spine. We remember, and it's the same thing going to the cinema. Like, I'm going to see the Odyssey tomorrow, and like, I'm not looking forward to see the Odyssey. I'm looking forward to the experience. Right? I'm not looking forward to spending $50. I'm not. It's a day's wages. That's a day's wages on freaking streaming. How? Will Ferrell, I met Will Ferrell a couple of times in Los Angeles. He is as crazy, belly to belly, a tall guy. Fuck, he's freaking tall. But he is as crazy as he is, like, he's just as... Eureka series. Eureka. Oh, really? Eureka. Oh, 2006 to 2012. Why did I, you know what? I know about this. I never watched it. A U.S. Marshal becomes a sheriff of Eureka, a remote, cozy little northwestern town where the best minds in the U.S. have secretly been tucked away. I know of it, but I never watched it. Interesting. Is that's what you're talking about, right, Scotty? Ben Feister. I enjoyed Wyatt Earp. Kevin Costner's Wyatt Earp. I loved Tombstone. Now, granted, Wyatt Earp wrote his own story, so everything we learned about Wyatt Earp. Sorry, it's hot. It's hot in here. Everything we learned about Wyatt Earp was basically his own storytelling, right? He was able to tell his story from a hero's perspective, I guess, right? But we need those heroes in society. We need those heroes as a basis for how we measure people, how we measure stories, how we measure stories into the future. These are good stories. They're good stories. As a matter of fact, just yesterday, I was watching Michael Biehn and what's his name? Ike Clanton, Oh, what a great actor. Jeez. How can I not remember his name? You know what I'm talking about, right? Mike Bean's got a podcast. I didn't know. Mike Bain has got a podcast. And he was a guy who did so many great movies in a row, like 3 or 4 amazing movies right in a row, right? And Powers Booth, we lost Powers Booth, what 15 years ago? Powers Booth was he did Curly Bill. He did such a great job doing Curly Bill. Stephen Lang is such an amazing actor. Like, I'm sure he got a pretty penny doing Avatar, but an actor of that caliber being wasted on Avatar, the story just continues to go downhill. It's like James Cameron, all he cares about is spectacle. It's another example. Like, look, I'm not, look, he's a brilliant movie maker. Okay. I'm not gonna look, does Danny Alex have any right saying, well, I have a right to say it. He has proved himself, but what he has done, the story for Fire and Ash was so lacking. Right from the first 2 scenes, again, I'm like, oh my God, James. Oh. I mean, I could have just changed the dialogue and made it a better movie. How could you have allowed that to happen? Stop allowing spectacle to just muscle out story. Stop the spectacle and start the story. And then take all the DEI people that want to put their political BS into it. Look, and that's fine if you want to. Go make your own movies. You don't need to hijack Star Trek or Star Wars or anything else to do it. If no one's watching the BS you're trying to put into movies and TV shows as it stands now, putting the facade of Star Trek over top of it's not going to help. Starfleet Academy. I did like Wyatt Earp, Kevin Costner's. A little bit slower, a little bit more. But if you want to watch a good movie on a Friday night, guys, watch Kevin Costner's Wyatt Earp. That's a good movie. Yeah, between Kurt Russell and Kevin Costner. Yes, Kurt all day as Wyatt Earp. Yeah. Yep. You must have been thinking of Chris Farley. That's the one, my friend. Chris Farley. I think there was... you know what? I knew, yeah, I mean, he was a big guy, right? Chris Farley and David Spade. So when I first moved to Los Angeles, true story, when I first moved to Los Angeles, David Spade, I was going to in downtown Beverly Hills, the gym, what was it called? Sports Club LA. It was on, was it on, not on Rodeo, on Camden. It was on Camden, right beside Rodeo, on Camden Drive, downtown. I mean, look, Beverly Hills is a gorgeous place to go. And I lived on the corner of Burton and, Burton, whatchamacallit there, at the Burton, yeah, oh my God, I've forgotten all the names. But it was one of the best places I ever lived. And but Sports Club LA, David Spade would always go there. And small guy, right? Like, I'm not a big guy. I'm 5'9". Right now I'm about 210. But you know, if I'm in really good shape and I'm my kickboxing, muscle stature, I'm 180, 185. No one can tell I'm 210 though. Everyone thinks I'm 180. I'm not. I'm gonna drop 30 pounds still. But David Spade, he would always go, a small guy, right? He's not a big guy. And nice guy, but he would always come in and he would go onto the walking machine. And so what I do when I go into the gym, I do my splits and I do my stretching and I'll do 2 exercises. So if I'm working chest, I'll work back as well, because when your chest is working, your back is not. If you're working your biceps, you're not working your triceps. So you can do biceps, triceps. And then I'll do, so I have an exercise ball for abs, and there's my whole routine, right? And then stretching. And then so one day he came up to me and started asking me questions. And really nice guy. And we were kind of friends after that. So David Spade was someone from a personality perspective I liked. And then, of course, Chris Farley. What was that one line? I always use it in some videos. Is it blah, blah, blah that makes me fat? No. Your face makes you fat. Fucking right on. So good, right? I mean, so the fact is that there's a lot of greatness came from the 80s. A lot of great, Tombstone is one of my favorite movies, period. From a screenwriting perspective, from story. The way the antagonists are introduced, and then the way that the protagonist is introduced, you see Wyatt Earp right after we meet the antagonist. They go, Mexican police, huh? Yo, killed a couple cowboys. And then it ends with that Bible quote from Ringo. And of course, he's just staring. And the man will ride on a horse, and he has that little smile, right? And then we hear the horn, and then we see the shoes, and then we see the upshot of the mustache and Kurt Russell. And before that, we see, look, and this is one of the things in screenwriting, when you have the protagonist save an animal from undue harm, it immediately attaches us to that character. Immediately. So when we see that guy hitting that horse, we don't know it's Wyatt Earp's horse. And then it's freaking brilliant. It's only 2 words, guys. This is what makes brilliant screenwriting. Because we feel it. We feel the scene. He grabs the horse and the reins, he grabs him with the hands, and he smacks him back. Hurt, don't it? That's all he says. Hurt, don't it? Then he says, let go of that stud. That's fun. If you're a screenwriter, guys, you learn a lot from just watching and reading Tombstone. How the characters are introduced, and then we're introduced to all of the rest of the protagonists. And it's not just in a fun and stupid way. It's contrived. They do it in a way, everything that is said in Tombstone in every scene is meaningful. And I urge you, if you like movies and you watch screenwriting, you want to do some screenwriting or some writing, you watch Tombstone and Alien. Val Kilmer's Doc Holliday made Dennis Quaid not a, I know, as this depiction of Doc Holliday. It was, look, Dennis, that was a hard one to follow up. Val Kilmer. No one will, no actor wants to play Doc Holliday after Val Kilmer did what he did. You want the role of Val Kilmer? No. No. I'll do Morgan. I'm not going to. Bill Paxton I met Bill Paxton a couple of times in Los Angeles. What a great, guys. Can I say something? We lost him at 61 years old. Bill Paxton. If you ever met Bill Paxton, anyone that ever met Bill Paxton will say the same thing. The guy was a freaking amazing, down to earth. He made you feel like just a regular freaking dude. Bill Paxton. Talk about being... And I met him twice. Great guy, Bill Paxton. Super Saiyan. Forget. With all the backlash about woke Hollywood, we need to either revive or start a new Married with Children. I'd like to see who's cast on that one. Bring back Al Bundy. Oh boy, Al Bundy roasting today's woke culture would be absolute gold. The amazing Married with Children, what they did is amazing. I don't know if you want to recreate that. I don't think you can recreate that. You need to go in a whole new concept. You will never come close to that magic. That was Al Bundy, right? And that was Peg. I freaking love Peg. I love Peg. I like Futurama because of Peg. Are you the same way? Are you all right? I'm lifting forks pretty well in my well, it depends what's on the fork, I guess. Thumbs up. I like a good thumbs up, baby. The irony is the Revelation scripture Ringo refers to is the Great Horseman, thank you, of the apocalypse. That is correct. I actually put that in a one of my horror movies screenplays. The apocalypse, the pale horse represents death. It's a metaphorical foreshadowing of Ringo's final duel with Doc. Yes, it is Ben Feister. That is correct. And that's part of what makes that movie a great watch. Doc was Ringo's pale horse, a dying, deadly dentist, living life on his terms. Lunger. He was a lunger. What? Okay. What did I miss? What did I miss here? Supergirl, the Odyssey. Got that. We got that. No, the Pete. Oh, I was gonna do the Holdo Maneuvers. Oh. Okay. Well, you know what? I'm gonna have to. You know, I'm going to add more live shows. And a lot of these things, because there's so many things I want to do that are on especially Dimension Zero. So there's Pop Rageous and there's Dimension Zero. Dimension Zero is much more science focused. A lot of what I do in Dimension Zero is the idea of, let's say, inertial dampeners, which is a whole sci-fi BS thing, right? I'll take a look at a movie in a much more science kind of a way, but we'll also take a look at real science, magnetars and pulsars, black holes and things, atoms, like what are electrons, all these things. And where Pop Rageous is much more movies where I go, head first. But I wanted to do the Holdo, a lot of things like recoil. Like people don't understand people think there's no recoil with an energy weapon. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Dude, anyone who thinks there's no recoil on an energy weapon, type in the kind of recoil that would happen on the Death Star 2's main weapon. It would send the Death Star 2 back 40% the speed of light. Now, of course, it would instantly incinerate it because you would have to have inertial dampeners that absorb that much to push, of course. And then, of course, you look at the G forces inside. So I did a video on Dimension Zero talking about, are super weapons even possible? Because the recoil in space would destroy the weapon. First off, generating that much energy at a single point would melt the starship instantly. You just can't create that much energy with, I mean, there's laws to physics that you just can't. And then, of course, the Holdo maneuver. I'm gonna schedule another live show. Dimension Zero next week. We're gonna start with Pop Rageous and Dimension Zero, both on both channels. But the Holdo maneuver is basically, if you can just go hyperspace, why did they even need to blow up the Death Star? Why didn't you just take take a TIE fighter, strap a hypermatter, and just shoot it straight into the Death Star? Done. knowing you're building the Death Star, wouldn't someone say, well, wait a sec, what if they just take a starfighter and they just shoot it into us? And of course, you know, Palpatine might have went, oh, maybe you're right. Maybe, oh, wait a second. Why build anything? Why build the Executor? Why build, because they could take an asteroid, a big hunk of rock, put a hypermatter drive on it, hyperdrive, and just shoot these things everywhere. Why would you need any spaceship? You just create autonomous robots with hyperdrives. And you just start shooting them everywhere. Could you imagine? A starfighter-sized spacecraft with a hyperdrive hitting a planet? Well, first off, when you go hyperdrive, you go into hyperspace. You leave. The whole idea is you leave our space. So the second you hit that button, bye-bye. You're not in our space anymore. Star Wars has got some of the worst writing, guys. We'll touch on this. But the science of it is so ridiculous. And I know this is where Pop Rages and Dimension Zero kind of overlap. But Dimension Zero is a little bit more science-based. Science focus, where Pop Rages says, you know what, we'll talk. We got to do one live show is not enough because I was just dying. Wait a sec, where am I? Where'd I go? Dying for this live show tonight. I had so much to talk about. I didn't even get to it. Yeah, I got to do more live shows. And we're going to do it, guys. We need to do it. I enjoy doing live shows a lot more than I do recording, videos. I do. Best part where I live, I've seen to Doc's grave the real Doc Holliday to his grave. I live in Colorado, right? Because he went there to move on to the next life. And I've been to the real Tombstone. I love to go to the real Tombstone town several times. Two minutes to jump. I know. It's her face. It's the whole thing, right? Poe looks so stupid and she just stays behind. It's classic Disney Star Wars, right? Guys, this is classic Disney Star Wars. Female empowerment. Poe looks like the idiot, yelling and screaming at her. Of course, she's got a bigger plan. I'm going to do the Holdo Maneuver. Holdo Maneuver. A good super weapon would be redirection of an asteroid or a comet to your target. Little energy input to redirect big output. Exactly. Now, the energy, if you would think from a physics perspective, you would think, okay, if I take like an asteroid or a TIE fighter or a starfighter or X-wing, call it the X-wings, right? X-wing, Y-wing, and you strap hyperdrive onto it, all the energy would come from what is now coaxium, right? It used to be that they would get hypermatter from hyperspace, which made a lot more sense to me because, okay, although physics-wise it's all BS, right? This is all technobabble BS. It's not going to happen. This is all made up. These are screenwriters writing stuff. But now they just mine coax. Now, this is the same as BSG. They took a page from BSG. Tilium, right? They could mine tilium. That's the problem with antimatter. You can't mine antimatter. So when you create antimatter, what you put into it, you get less out. Much less out. Much less. X minus Y. And Y is a big number. You can't find fields and lakes of antimatter. This is the problem with antimatter. This is the great thing about oil and coal. We mine it. The cost of oil is just drilling. The cost of coal is just mining it. It's there. Energy which is contained within the oil and the coal. Antimatter is not like that. You can't create, if you're going to, why would you create X minus Y energy when it takes X to put, if you're going to convert Jupiter into antimatter, you're going to get X minus Y back. What's the point? These are part of this. These are part of the problems with, if you're taking a look at sci-fi from a, and that's what I like to do, is taking a look at sci-fi from that perspective. So it is Wednesday. We got another show next Wednesday at 8 p.m. I will be adding some Popperageous shows. Popperageous Saturday night is pretty much a go this week. I know summertime is a lot slower. But I love talking. Look, if there's a few of us, we'll talk. We'll do it. I mean, keep us on, even if it's in the background. Whatever it is, let's do this. Thank you for watching, guys. My name is Danny Alex. This has been Dimension Zero, and the other channel is Popperageous. I thank you. I know we don't agree on everything, but some things we do agree, and the other stuff we could have a great conversation over a couple of beers. I'm sure we can. Thank you, my friends. I got to make sure I know how to turn the stream down, because this is a different, totally different. I'm on restream.io, not on StreamYard.com. So I'm going to, hopefully this all works. But thank you, guys. My name is Danny Alex. I will see you soon. You guys all have a wonderful evening. It's been my pleasure. May the force be with you.